Ever wondered how data fits together and what happens when there's a problem? Today, we'll learn about how data depends on other data and how to find problems like having too much data or data that's not right. Good morning, everyone. We are the Group 1 and we'll be discussing the concepts of structural and data dependence, data redundancy, and anomalies. First term is the structural dependence. So, mapapansin natin yung word na dependence and or dependent sa slide na to. The word dependent means that one subject or one object relies on another object for it to function or operate properly. For example, a plant is dependent on sunlight to grow. Another example is a car. It is dependent on gasoline to run. Without gasoline, the car cannot move. So when we say structural dependence, it means that access to a file is dependent on its structure. A file system exhibits structural dependence because the way files are organized and stored determines how they can be accessed. Imagine a library. The books are organized into shelves and sections. To find a specific book, kailangan natin malaman yung location nito through its shelf number and section. This is similar to structural dependence in a file system. The way the files are organized determines how you can find them. This means that if the structure of the file system changes, it can affect how you access files. For example, if a folder is renamed or moved, you'll need to update the path to access the files within it. Now that we know the meaning of structural dependence, dako na tayo sa opposite nito, which is the structural independence, which will be discussed by Cruz.
Kung may structural dependence, may structural independence. Structural independence exists when it is possible to make changes in the file structure without affecting the application program to ability to access the data. In structural independence, it is possible to make changes while the application or program is running. If you change on how the data is stored or organized, the program that uses that data won't need to change or stop working. They can still access the data just as they did before, even though the storage structure has been updated. Imagine sa structural independence, meron kang bookshelf. Tapos, yung sa bookshelf na yan, meron kang mga books na favorite mo. Nag-decide ka na naka-arrange sila ng ganyan. Then one day, inisip mo na baguhin yung arrangement. Pagpapalitan mo ng mga pwesto. Sa structural independence, they still work just fine kagaya ng dati. Ang nabago lang, kahit magpalit ka ng pwesto, ganun pa rin yung function ng structural independence. It's when you can change on how things are organized without it affecting on how you use them. So even if you rearrange things, everything will work just fine.
When all data access programs are subject to change, when any of the file's data storage characteristic to change, that is changing the data type. The file system is said to exhibit data dependence. When a file system requires updates to all programs whenever data storage characteristics change, it exhibits data dependence. This tight coupling means that any change in data structure necessitates change in all dependent programs. Increasing maintenance complexity using data abstraction or encapsulation can help by providing a consistent interface and reducing the need for widespread program updates. For example, consider a company that uses a customer database with the numbers. Initially, this field is stored as a text string, but the company later decided to change it to integer to facilitate faster researches. Because the data access programs were designed to handle phone numbers as text, they need to be updated to handle phone numbers as integers. This change in data type results in data dependence as the programs are affected by the alteration in data storage characteristics.
Next is data dependence. Data dependence exists when it is possible to make changes in data storage characteristics without affecting the application's program ability to access data. Data independence allows changes to storage and organization without affecting the application's functionality. And it has two levels, the logical and the physical data independence. The practical significance of data dependence is the difference between the logical data format, how human being views the data, and physical data format, how the computer must work with the data. Logical data dependence, which it permits modifications to the conceptual view without altering application and interaction. And physical data independence, which allows change to how data is stored without impacting the logical structure. This concept ensures that database systems can evolve and be maintained more easily without disrupting applications. And the importance of the data independence, it enhances the flexibility and maintainability of database systems by allowing the changes to the data structure or storage methods without affecting application. It simplifies database management, reduces the need for frequent application updates, and helps ensure long-term stability and adaptability of both the database and the application that rely on it. This leads to more efficient handling of evolving data requirements and storage technologies.
So yun, data redundancy naman. So from the word itself, from the word itself, from the word itself, from the word itself. Tama na, masyado na ako redundant. So redundancy is kapag paulit-ulit na. And data redundancy naman is when the same data is stored unnecessarily at different place. So, paano nga ba gumagana si data redundancy? So, the data needs to stored in 2 or more places for it to be considered na redundant. So, gaya nga nasabi dito sa PPT or Canva, nangyayari ito when di naman na need i-store dun yung data pero na-store siya unnecessarily. And which means na kapag unintentional mo siya ginawa, malamang dahil sa poor database design mo. And kapag intentional mo naman siya, is for the backups and performance optimization. So yun, data redundancy, syempre, meron niyang mga benefits and downside. So first, yung benefits niya, it helps to protect the data. So kapag, kunwari, itong data na itong isa, na-corrupt siya, hindi mo na siya ma-access. Si redundant, pwede siyang i-replace yung missing data mo. However, meron yung risk. Yun yung poor data security. Siyempre, mas madaming kopya, mas malaki yung chances na magkaroon ng unauthorized access. So, gaya nga ng example ni Sir, kunwari sa exam, meron ka kodigo. Tapos, the more na marami yung may alam nun o meron nun, mas malaki yung chance na mahuli kayo ni Prof. Sunod na downside ni data redundancy is data inconsistency o data discrepancy. The more na nag-i-store tayo ng same data in multiple location, the more na nagkakaroon ng inconsistency. So, kunwari, ano ba sikat ngayon? Bini yan. Kunwari, fan ka ni Bini. Tapos sabi mo, may bias ka pa. Pero di mo naman alam kanta nila. So, inconsistency yun. So, data inconsistency naman, nagkakaroon ng missing record or incorrect values. If yung data mo is not continually updated, magiging upside lang siya kapag hosting ka ng multiple location for the same data. And that means that the data management system can evaluate any differences. And meaning, data is assured accurate. If we look at this table, this is the example of data redundancy. So, makikita natin, kung makikita natin dyan, meron siyang data redundancy dito sa may column ng college, course, and rank. So, dyan. Dito, pwedeng ginawa na lang niya dito is, pinag-iwalay na lang niya. And dyan na papasok dadagdag ko na lang din, is si decomposition. Decomposition is a process of breaking single table into or more table. So, imbis na ganito na isang table lang siya, kung pare-pares lang naman sila, pwede mo naman siyang ipag-iwalay o gumawa ka na lang ng isang column pa. Kasi pag ganito, bad design yung tawag sa kanya dito pag ganito. So, yun na nga, decomposition. So, ano ba si decomposition? Decomposition is a process of breaking a single table into or more table. So, dito, gaya nito, pwede mo na lang pag dalawang table, gawa ka dito isa, nandun na rin si student ID, name, contact. Tapos sa isang table, nandun si college, course, and rank. So from that, may eliminate mo yung bad design, redundancy, anomalies, saka inconsistency.
So now let's talk about data integrity. Data integrity is defined as the condition in which all of the data in the database are consistent with the real-world events and conditions. In other words, data integrity means that data are accurate, there are no data inconsistencies, and data are verifiable. The data will always yield consistent results. Now, let's look at the example table. You can see that per the description of data integrity, data is accurate. All the information in both tables are precise, and some, like the employee number, are unique. And data is verifiable, always leading to consistent results. If we think of this table as an actual database system, using its search function, if you search, for example, 20, which is a department number, all the employees listed in that department will be the results, which doesn't quite match with the description of data integrity. That's why the primary key values rule is implemented. The primary key values rule specifies that each row can have a unique identifier key. In the employee table, the column employee number all follow the rule, with each row having a unique identifier. So if you use that unique key in the search field, you would be given a more accurate result. Data integrity are strict rules that must be followed to ensure consistent and reliable exchange of information. Next, mag-report sa data anomaly si Rowan Estevez.
I am Rowan Estevez and reporting about the data anomaly. This certain terminology is kind of self-explanatory, so it will be a short or brief explanation for this terminology. So data anomaly develops when not all the required changes in the redundant data are made successfully. Then data anomalies found are commonly defined as follows. Data anomaly, as we already know, yung data ay raw facts or unprocessed information wherein hindi pa nare-reveal yung meanings nila. So, ayun yung tawag sa data. Alam naman natin yun. And sa word na anomaly, yung anomaly is, ang definition niya is yung hindi expected na outcome. Like sa programming, sa Java, kapag nag-system out tayo ng hello world, pag nag-print tayo, kapag nira natin yung program natin or yung code natin, ang lalabas dun sa running space is hello world kasi ayun yung nilagay mo sa system out mo, ayun yung pinrint mo dun sa code mo. Ayun yung sa anomaly. So kapag hindi yun yung nasunod, ibig sabihin there's an anomaly sa code mo or sa program mo. Dito naman, meron tayong 3 examples ng data anomaly, which are insertion anomalies, updating anomaly, and deletion anomalies. Sa insertion anomalies, may example tayo dito. If a student detail has to be inserted whose course is not being decided yet, then the insertion will not be possible till the time course is decided for the student. As we can see here sa table na to, walang nakalagay dun sa course kasi it is not yet to be decided. So anong mangyayari sa kapag wala pang hindi kumpleto yung record natin, yung row or yung column ng ating database. So ang tawag diyan is anomaly kasi hindi pa siya complete, and kapag hindi complete yung set ng database, it may cause inaccurate information or inaccurate file. Ganun siya. Next example of anomaly is the update anomalies. Suppose if ito may example. Suppose if the rank of the college changes, then changes will have to be all over the database, which will be time-consuming and computationally costly. So dito sa update anomalies, ang kaso lang dito sa anomaly na to is yung kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng databases, hindi lang naman na ayun lang yung mismong data niya. Mag-change siya over time, depende sa situation or depende sa project na ginagawa natin. Example nito, isa pang example nito is yung sa mga games. Kapag naglalaro tayo ng games, kapag nag-earn tayo ng money sa games, kapag nag-earn tayo ng money sa games, nagkakaroon ng update dun sa amount ng money natin. Kasi kung hindi magkakaroon ng update dun sa amount ng money natin sa game na na-earn every play natin ng game, syempre mawawala ng interest yung mga gamers or yung mga users or yung mga players ng game na to kasi ayun nga yung goal. Ayun yung isa sa mga goal ng games na kailangan they will reach this kind of point na parang pang-upgrade nila sa mga attributes nila, ganun. Ito, update anomalies. Our next example of a data anomaly is deletion anomalies. Ang deletion anomalies ay nangyayari or ito ay kadalasang nag-occur kapag nag-delete ka ng isang cell or isang data tapos yung ibang data ay naapektuhan. Most of the time or mostly naman talaga ng mga databases, yung mga record or yung mga field or yung mga rows or yung mga columns, mostly niyan is interconnected sila. So kapag nag-delete ka ng isang cell or ng isang data, there might be some anomaly. Ito ang deletion anomaly na to na pwedeng ma-delete rin yung ibang data. Overall, yung data anomaly is mostly ang common causes nito ay human errors or nasa system na talaga. Kapag nagkaroon kasi ng data anomaly, hindi makukumpleto or very inaccurate yung lalabas ng mga outputs natin na magkukos ng distortion or database natin. Yun nga, inaccuracy. So, kailangan nating iwasan yung data anomaly.
Step to avoid data redundancy and data anomalies. Number 1 is ensuring data accuracy. Ensure that the data is accurate and consistent by implementing validation, rules, and automated check. This measure will help prevent that the entry of duplicate or incorrect information into the system. Number 2 is delete unused data. Regularly review and delete data that is no longer in use. Removing outdated or unnecessary data help reduce storage needs and lower the risk of redundancy. Number 3 is creating data backup. While it's important to backup data, make sure backup are properly managed to avoid excessive duplication of the same data. Use incremental backup to secure only the new change since the last backup. Number 4 is manual data review. Regularly conduct manual review of your data, especially for your critical dataset. This helps in identifying and correct errors that automated system might miss. Number 5 is implement redundancy check. Set up check to measure that the data entering the system is unique and correct, preventing anomaly caused by redundancy. The last is number 6, regular data audits. Conduct regular data audits to review and address anomalies. During this audit, check the data for accuracy, consistency, and completeness, as well as adherence to the data management policy. This step will help reduce the risk associated with data redundancy and anomalies while improving overall data management and protection.
So that's a wrap on data structures and dependencies. Thank you all for listening.